Hi learners, welcome to Learner's Corner. My name is Rachel Balogun and today I'll be taking you on self-esteem. Now, what is self-esteem? Why is it important? What are the factors that influence a person's esteem? And how do you improve your self-esteem? These are the things that we're going to be looking at today. But first, let me begin with a story. Now, today I'm going to tell you the story of two girls, Chika and Shola. Both of them are 14-year-old SS2 students, and they participated in a speaking competition at school. Chika came second place, while Shola came last place. Everyone congratulated them for their efforts, and they went home after the competition. But when they got home, Chika was sad. Even though she had came out second place, she refused to talk about the competition and she felt like she completely failed because she wasn't the most celebrated person at the event. Shola, however, took process of everything that went on and she decided that she was going to do better at the next competition. And so when it was time to proceed to the national stage of the speaking competition, their teachers approached the both of them again. Chika refused to participate because she felt like she didn't do well in the first step of the competition, while Shola approached the teacher and told her that she would like to participate and try again. And so Shola went back home and prepared hard every day, and she worked out and came out as the winner in the national speaking competition. Now, these are two girls who are both 14-year-old, who are in the same class, who both experienced the same situation. They both did not win at a speaking competition, but their response to it was different. Why was their response different? Because they both had different esteem. Now with this, we're going to be looking at why self-esteem is important. Your self-esteem is important because it ultimately affects the choices that you make. It determines the way we respond to our situations. Look at Chika and Shola. Chika was able to respond poorly to the situation, even though she did better than Shola. But because she had a low self-esteem, she felt like she was a failure. And Shola, although she came out the last place, she was able to respond better because her esteem was higher. Now, what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is a measure of how you feel about yourself. Self-esteem is a recognition of your values, your qualities, your abilities, and even how you feel about your physical appearance. Self-esteem affects your confidence because a person with low self-esteem would carry themselves in a shallow way, while a person with high self-esteem will carry themselves in a way that shows that they are proud and they regard who they are. Now, I've been mentioning low self-esteem and high self-esteem. So this ultimately lets you know that there are two types of esteem. There's the high self-esteem and the low self-esteem. Now, how do you know a person with high self-esteem? And how do you know a person with low self-esteem? People with high self-esteem feel good about themselves, while people with low self-esteem feel terrible about themselves. People with high self-esteem are proud of what they do, and even when they encounter failures, they are willing to try again. So we can ultimately say that Albert Einstein was a person with high self-esteem because he was willing to try 999 times before he eventually found how to produce a light bulb. Somebody with a low self-esteem would not even have the fortitude to keep on trying because after one failure, they ultimately take it that, oh, I'm a failure because what they do failed. Now, people with high self-esteem encounter situations with a better light, with a better countenance, and so they are easy to come around. They have more friends than people with low self-esteem. So now that we know the types of self-esteem and we know what self-esteem is, let's look at the factors that influence a person's esteem. Now, there are two sources of self-esteem or two factors that influence your self-esteem. There's the internal sources and then there are external sources. The internal sources are voices within you, your thought processes, your mindsets. They ultimately affect your self-esteem. What do you say to yourself? How do you process things? How do you look at things? How do you interpret situations that happen to you? How do you make your choices and your decisions? All of these are internal sources or factors that affect your self-esteem. And then external sources through the way we socialize. So socialization is a process where a person acquires information, attitudes, values from the environment and the community around them. And so from the way we relate with people, the way we interact with our families, the way we interact with the adults around us or the young people around us, the words that they say to us, are they kind when we fail? Are they patient when we fail? Or do they tell us, oh, you don't have sense when you make a mistake? This feedback also affects a person's self-esteem. So there are two factors that affect self-esteem: the internal sources, the internal factors, your thought processes, your mindset, and your perception towards life, and then the external sources. Now, both of them are intertwined because sometimes the words that a friend says to you affect the things that you think about. The words that your family say to you, they affect the things that you think about. So this is why it is important for you to surround yourself with positive things and people that say positive things to you, because this also affects how you interpret things. And so now let's move on to how to improve your self-esteem. So if you find that you have low self-esteem, maybe sometimes you are sad about things, maybe sometimes you don't want to try to make attempts to make new friends or to venture into a competition or to put yourself out there. Maybe you have great talent, you know how to draw or you know how to write, but you're shy about it. So how do you build your esteem? One, say positive things to yourself. Every time you feel bad about something or every time you feel sad about something, say positive things to yourself. I have a list of affirmation. Why do you need a list of affirmations, or why do you need to say positive things to yourself? Because you will be encountered with situations that test you. You'll be encountered with circumstances that make you feel like you're not good enough. But when you have a list of affirmations that you say to yourself, it's easier to counter the terrible thoughts. And so one, you want to be kind on yourself. Two, you want to focus on the good things, on the good points or good aspects about you. What are you good at? People have different talents, people have different abilities, and we all would not have the same abilities. Some of us are artistically inclined. Some of us are academically inclined. Some of us are athletically inclined. We all have different abilities. So focus on what is good. Another step to take to improve your esteem is to stop trying to be perfect. A popular saying goes that there is no such thing as failure. There is only information. And so even if you do not do well at something, you take it as information to improve on yourself. So stop trying to be perfect and focus on what you do better and then improve on those things. So an exercise I have for you, I need you to make a list of 10 positive things about yourself. 10 positive things that you're going to be saying to yourself every time. Every time you feel terrible, every time you feel sad, every time you feel like you're not good enough, say these 10 positive things to yourself. Another thing you want to do is to write out things, maybe 3 to 5 things that you know or your friends have told you that you do well. Maybe you are good at running. You always come first whenever you run. Maybe you are good at writing and everybody always asks you to help them write their letters or write their assignments. Maybe you are good at speaking and encouraging people. Make a list of these things that you are good at and focus on building those skills. Another thing I want you to do is to set a goal. And so maybe you say that, okay, for this term, I had 60% in my results. I was the 4th position in class, so I was the 5th position in class. Next term, I want to come either 2nd or 1st. And then you make an outline of everything you will do every day to get to your goal. Because when you set goals and meet them, you also improve your esteem. And so now, I'm going to recap everything that we have said today. We started by defining what self-esteem is, and we said that self-esteem is a measure of how you feel about yourself. It's the recognition of your abilities, your values, and even your physical self-worth. And then we moved on to the types of self-esteem, where we consider the characteristics of high self-esteem and low self-esteem. And we said people with high self-esteem are proud of themselves. They feel liked, they feel good about themselves. While people with low self-esteem are hard on themselves and they feel like they have failed. And then we also looked at the factors that influence a person's esteem. We said there are two factors: internal sources and external sources. And your internal sources are the things you say to yourself, your mindset, and your perception towards life. While your external sources are your interactions with people, the words that your family or your friends or people in your community say to you, and how you process those things. And then we made a list of how you can improve your self-esteem. 1, by accepting that you're not perfect. 2, by being kind to yourself. 3, by focusing on the things that you can do. And 4, by setting goals and meeting them. And so that would be all for today. I've had such a wonderful time talking about self-esteem to you. If you have any questions, please write to us at lenascorner.org and we will definitely get in touch. Thank you and see you in the next class.